that hybrid surface they put in relatively recently will be a slick one this evening as the Scottish champions prepare to go head to head for the third time this season with the champions of Romania, Cluj, who knocked them out in the Champions League third qualifying round. Celtic's first home qualifying defeat since Maribor beat them back in 2014, and just the third time they've lost 4 goals at home in a European game here at Celtic Park. Paris Saint-Germain put 5 past them going back a couple of seasons now, and Partizan Belgrade put 5 past them back in the olden days as well, as both sets of players go into huddles down in front of us. But the scene just about set here. Richard ran through the team. Fraser Forster back for some European action at Celtic Park. Somewhere he put in superb performance after superb performance on the continental stage. La Gran Muralla, he was known as in Spain after that majestic goalkeeping masterclass against Barcelona back in 2012. Incredible to think almost 7 years have come and gone since then. He's back between the sticks here. El Hamid Ayer, Julian and Bolingoli at the back. Brown and McGregor behind Forrest Christie and El Yunusi, with Edouard up front for Celtic. The Romanians, one change on the side that won 4-3 here in August. Kevin Bolly, an Ivorian defender, comes into the defence, but that apart, it's the team that started that win, and Dan Petrescu clearly happy to do so. He's taken his place in the technical area, having taken ill in the team hotel in Glasgow yesterday. Didn't perform his media conference duties last night, but he's sitting down in his dugout, as is Neil Lennon. The TV floor manager is just about ready. Daniel Seibert from Berlin, a teacher, 35 years of age, is the referee. Took charge of Aberdeen's draw at home to Burnley last year in this tournament's qualifying stages, and Celtic's victory over the Icelanders Stjarnan back in 2015 in the Champions League qualifiers. Cluj in their wine-coloured shirts, shorts and socks go right to left. They'll shoot the west end of Celtic Park in this first half. Celtic in the green and white hoops, left to right, attacking the Lisbon line stand as they tend to do in the first half of games here, and they're on the front foot already, having won the ball back from centre. Poor touch from El Hamid though, but he's going to get the throw in off the Cluj skipper Camora. Down on this near side, the Portuguese left back, taken quickly by the Israeli right back for Celtic. El Hamid to McGregor into the centre circle for Ayer, and he plays it to his right for the centre defensive colleague Julian, who was a spectator only for that second leg in the third qualifying round of Europe's Premier competition. He's in the meat of it tonight, James McFadden.
Yeah, a frantic start as you would expect, Liam. Just going back to the El Hamid touch, I think is to do with the surface. It zipped right off the surface. He tried to take a big touch out his feet. Subsequently it went into the Cluj midfielder, who tried to do the same thing, and he's rolled it right out of the park. So it's been heavily watered, the pitch, and you can imagine that that's on the instruction of Neil Lennon, so that Celtic can get their passing game going. But it's been a frantic start.
And it does look as though the visitors are lining up in a 4-3-3 with the main striker Mario Rondon through the middle. We'll get to them shortly. Bolingoli has it for Celtic over in the north stand side. Back to Brown, who chips it back out towards Bolingoli on that left flank. He's level with the 18-yard line of Cluj. Knocking it forward there till Yunusi. The Norwegian looks up, scoops the cross into the box. It's flicked away by the head of the defender there as it breaks the way of Scott Brown. Back it comes towards Ayer, who leaves it for Julian. Now it's back with Ayer on the halfway line, and he plays it to his left for Brown. Remember, Celtic beginning with a draw in the north of France a couple of weeks back against Rennes, an encouraging start in a game Neil Lennon felt that they should have won, as Bolingoli takes a throw in to El Yunusi on that far side. El Yunusi, who was magnificent for Molde against Ronny Deila Celtic a few years ago in this competition in the group stage. As it comes back to Julian inside his own half, it's with McGregor out to Hamid, level the edge of the centre circle, finds Forrest back to the Israeli international, and it's a side foot pass looking for Christie, but it's going to pop through to Camora, and Bolly, who is the nephew of Basil Bolly, former Champions League winner with Marseille, and that 1 year at Ibrox across the city from here as well, as that trickles out for a goal kick to Cluj. 2.5 minutes in. It was an incredible scoreline, James. The last time Cluj were here just a couple of months ago, and well, they've clearly hit form since then. They've got a more settled lineup, and Bolingoli, who was having a torrid time of it, including that away leg against Cluj at that point, he's settled down a bit. Probably the performance at Ibrox helping him. Julian's come into the team, looks like a rock. They're settled up further up the park as well, and that's going to help them tonight.
It is, and I think that the big thing about Julian in particular, after the game in Stockholm, he spoke to the media and says that he wasn't fit, and that's the reason why it taken him so long to get up to speed. Bolingoli's looks fit, but it's just maybe trying to adapt to the pace of the game, because it's frantic to get up to speed. Bolingoli's been made of looks fit defensively. I think he's just maybe okay trying defensively. It's just adapt to the too many touches at times on the ball, but certainly going into this side, he's been made of having a set inside the centre. He's just maybe trying to just forward towards the edge of the ball, pace of the game on the ball, overlapping it, and he's certainly going into this side. He's been made of having a set inside the centre. He's just maybe the right back Susic, the Bosnian, he's the high down the pressing by Christie. Their goalkeeper, international, who swooped at the rescue at one of his former clubs over there. He was on the bench at Ibrox when they put 4 past Rangers. They're going back more than a decade now, and it's the goalkeeper who hits it long with the goal kick, right-footed. It's one in the air on the far side there, though, by El Yunusi. Christie gives chase, but it will be played back by Bolly to his keeper. It's not the best clearance in the world. He gets away with it. It's helped on its way out on this near side by the number 10 Ciprian Deac, as El Hamed collides down on this near side with Damjan Djokovic, the Croatian midfielder, and it's a free kick to Celtic, which is taken quickly, and it's now at the feet of the Celtic captain Brown. Nobody in Celtic's history has played more European matches than Scott Brown, as it breaks to Julian. Poor ball from him, asking way too much of El Hamed. It soars away over his head and out for a goal kick. Almost 5 goalless minutes in at Celtic Park here in Europa League Group E. We'll keep you up to date with what's happening in Rome, where Lazio hosts Rennes. Of course, Cluj beat Lazio on match day 1, and that's given them a real foothold in this group, as Edouard gives chase. It's well defended by Andrei Burka, who knocks it out for a throw into Celtic, which is taken quickly by Forrest, level with the 18-yard line on this near side, looking for Edouard. It wouldn't settle for him, breaks instead to the Portuguese Aurelio for Cluj, and then it's out to that right flank, picked up by Susic, who's knocked it forward there to Rondon, who's at the right hand side of the box, trying to play it back in to the Aurelio, the midfielder inside the Celtic box. He made his late run, but it's Celtic getting half away, and it's going to be a Cluj corner out on that far side. Bolingoli with the tackle. It's the first corner of the match. It is a Cluj corner. Almost 6 minutes in, Celtic 0, Cluj 0. It's come from Bolingoli. He's got a tendency to always be on the front foot and go and try and nick the ball. It's clever play from the Cluj player. I can't see who it is, but he tries to nick it and he just rolls him, and it sets up an attack. It's not great play, but he needs to recognise when he can go and nick it and when he can just put a little bit of pressure on and make it the defender have his touch. Deac's corner, left-footed. It's headed away there by Christie at the near post. Deac scored the first of the 4 that Cluj got here a couple of months back. Long ball into the Celtic box is going to skip off the surface and behind for a Celtic goal kick. 6.5 minutes played. No goals as yet. This match coming hot on the heels of Rangers match day 2 in their group against Young Boys Bern. If you missed it earlier, a late winner for the Swiss team. Finished Young Boys 2, Rangers 1. Morelos had given Rangers the lead at half time. 2 goals in the second half turned that game on its head. All 4 teams in that group sitting now on 3 points, having won their home matches in the opening 2 match days. It's Cluj who sit top of this group, Group E, after just the 1 match day. As I said, that win over Lazio, who I think many people would have felt were the group favourites, albeit they don't come anywhere close to winning the Italian title. It's a difficult league, of course, for everyone out with Juventus and Napoli these days, as Bolingoli prepares to take the throw-in on that far side. And Celtic have a double header against Lazio coming up after this one's done and dusted tonight. The throw-in into the midfield is clipped away by Djokovic, and then picked up by Celtic in the midfield with Christie rolling it along the deck. Here's Forrest just outside the D, looking to try and burrow his way through, and he might well do that. It was just flicked away overhead by Borka, and Cluj get it away.
Brown trying to recycle it. He's tossed it out to Edouard on this near side. He's at the corner flag. He's about level with the 6-yard line, trying to take on Kamara. And then eventually the block from the defender forces it back towards the halfway line when it's met by Julian. Plays it forward. Cluj clear. Taken down by McGregor on the chest. Little ball with the left foot now to El Yunusi. Turning it along the ground out to El Hamid on this near side. He's got a little bit of space. It's a dreadful ball though. Just passed it straight to Kamara, and that allows them to clear. And it was a really good positive situation that Celtic found themselves in on this near side. El Hamid slips that past the defender. Celtic were in behind.
Yeah, it was, and James Forrest had made the move just as El Hamid had looked at him. Then he took another touch and tried to play it. James Forrest had moved away, and it looked like El Hamid was going to just cross it in the box, which he probably should have done, because Celtic were quite loaded in the box. And it's just a slack pass, but they need to be careful they don't go trying chasing it and forcing things too early, because it's not like the Champions League game where they have to win the game and they're under pressure to get goals. But of course they have to win the game, but they don't need to win it in the first 5 or 10 minutes. They need to get control of the game like they have done so far this season in Europe, and just really wear Cluj down, because at the start it looked like they were sitting back and happy to absorb the pressure because they got so much joy out of it the last time they played here, and try and hit Celtic on the break. And when they do break at speed, but they have to just get their foot in the ball, play some passes. I know it's really slick, the pitch, but just don't force it. I know that Neil's keen for them to get the ball forward as quick as possible, and you can understand why, but sometimes just put your foot in the ball, try and play a few extra passes, draw Cluj out, and look for those little gaps that Forrest is normally exploiting. Ryan Christie usually picks up good areas, and also Edouard up front to try and get in behind and get those chances where there aren't 3 and 4 bodies round them.
Well, Andrei Burka, one of the centre-halves, has obviously got blood coming from something somewhere, because he's been told by the referee to come off. Celtic take the throw-in on the far side, looking to try and win at least a corner. They've still got it on the far side. Christie's cross comes in, it's too high for Edouard. Kamara couldn't keep it in play, so Celtic have their first corner of the evening. 10 minutes in, Burka's making his way back onto the pitch in time to defend the set play. It's better from Celtic down that far side, getting the ball into the middle. And we've got a short corner which Christie takes to Forrest, rolling it to the edge of the area for McGregor. McGregor's ball's lovely, great save from the header. Well, it might have been Ayer who got his head onto it, but it's a point blank save there from Arlauskis, and that allows Cluj to get the ball away. But this is promising stuff from Celtic right now. They have it with El Yunusi on the left, level with the 6-yard line now, to the byline he goes, and he wins the corner. Big moment for Celtic, the first real chance of the game.
2 fantastic balls in. The first ball from El Yunusi, James Forrest is right behind Edouard. He's every right to go for it. And that one there, I think Cal McGregor whipped it in. And that's something that in the Rennes game, for all the pressure and possession and control they had, their final ball was...
Chance, Julian with the headers over the bar as it was dinked into the box by Bolingoli. Julian's header aimed for the top left corner, goes over the crossbar. 11 minutes in, Celtic 0, Cluj 0, but promising signs for the Scottish champions.
And it's another incredible ball. I was just saying that when they played in Rennes, I think that was the one thing that Neil Lennon had picked out. Their final ball at times wasn't good enough. Already we've seen 3 terrific crosses from different areas, from different players, and Cluj haven't really dealt with it. 2 very clean headers, a great save from the goalkeeper, and that one there was Julian up again, but more of the same for Celtic.
Similar incident at Easter Road at the weekend there, where it's almost like Julian is too tall to get onto the header there, and that's sent it over the crossbar. He'd won in the second half where he almost meets it too early because he's such a big guy. That time it was stood up towards him and he's put it over the crossbar.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think maybe he's just surprised that he's got so much time and space. He's all alone in the box. It's a fantastic ball, as I said, but the early signs are very promising for Celtic.
However, Cluj have come up the pitch and won a corner down on this near side. There is a short option. If they want it, Deac is the short option. The corner is played towards the box, blocked by Bolingoli. It's a really poor set piece actually from Cluj's point of view as Celtic get it up towards halfway, and it's hoisted into the main stand there by Kamara, who takes no chances. Celtic have a throw in midway inside their own half, 0-0.
Yeah, it was a poor ball. I think at the weekend they scored 2 goals from set plays. I think the 2 centre backs scored, so they do pose a threat, but if they continue to put balls in like that, Celtic will be happy.
They won 3-0 at the weekend, Cluj, but they haven't won away from home since putting 4 past Celtic here, albeit they do sit atop the Romanian top flight as we speak. It's El Hamid finding Brown. Celtic, of course, top of the Scottish Premiership as we speak as well. As Ayer collects it inside the centre circle, it's under pressure, but manages to eventually pass it back. Damjan Djokovic is right behind him there, snapping at his heels as Forster gets it to Julian. Now it's with El Hamid. Forrest ahead of him in field. Forrest takes it down, turns in field, turns back out the way. Right foot ball along the 18-yard line for Edouard. He's got his back to goal, trying to make something work. Shout for handball. The referee eventually does give a free kick, but it's for Cluj. It was certainly flicked up towards Bordianu, and Edouard felt it was a handball on the edge of the Cluj box. It's actually gone the other way as the defender took a tumble, and it will be a Cluj free kick just outside their own box.
It was difficult to tell. He has his back to us, and it looked like, you know, he could have, but his arms are by his side, so you have to say, or give the referee the benefit of the doubt, and it's very difficult for us to see from up here.
Celtic's 7th meeting with Romanian opposition. They've beaten Astra, Timișoara, and then the Cluj ties in the summer. As Brown's header breaks back to El Hamid on this near side. Long right foot ball looking for Edwards, can skip away from him, and Bolly lets it go all the way through to his goalkeeper Arlauskas, who has 4 clean sheets only in his 16 games up to press. 14.5 minutes played here in Europa League Group E. Celtic 0, Cluj 0. Last we heard, still goalless between Lazio and Rennes in the other game in this group. I think the Celtic were saying earlier on there was around about 100 tickets left for the match tonight, and yeah, I mean it's a very impressive crowd. They've left the bottom 3 rows, I think, of the 2 end stands behind the goals free for presumably security reasons. As El Hamid collects it just down by his own byline here, he's under the cosh and eventually deals with it. Deac was around him and he manages to win the goal kick, which Forster is over already. 15 in 0-0.
Yeah, he done well in the end. Cluj, you know, they're playing a game where at times they're sitting back, but certainly Djokovic looks like he wants to go and press the centre backs. He'll leave the area where Scott Brown is to press the centre backs. Deac not giving El Hamid a minute there, so they will press, but it might play into Celtic's hands.
There's El Yunusi on the attack for Celtic, moving towards the box. Again, he was looking for the overlap from Bolingoli, wins it back, having given it away initially, rolling it along the 18-yard line, but it's just behind, and Cluj are able to clear. El Yunusi, it was positive play from him there as Ayer's cushion header forward is going to break out to the far side for Susic, who clears it across halfway. Won again by the head of Ayer, who's found Christie this time. Lovely little back flick there by Christie, trying to force it to El Yunusi. It's cut out again and out for a Celtic throw-in on the far side. He's certainly been a standout in the early couple of months of the season, Ryan Christie, for Celtic, and he's in possession again as he switches it out to El Hamid on this near side. On the halfway line, forward to Forrest on the touchline. He's forced back up towards halfway, turns forward, then goes back the way because there was no route forward past Djokovic, and it ends up inside the centre circle with McGregor, who's going to win it back from El Yunusi. McGregor slipping it to Bolingoli in the left, he's inside the box, loads in the middle, pulls it back, cut out by the defender, behind for the corner. He'd no fewer than 4 in green and white hoops making their way towards the 6-yard line. He has to settle for the corner.
It comes again. Djokovic is just pressing, you know, he's about 20 yards away from Julian there, he's still trying to press him. It's a simple ball into McGregor, who managed to break, and they've got Omrani playing wide right, who Bolingoli will run off all night, but the danger is the counter-attack.
Out-swinging corner from Christie, Julian meets it again, it drops down and it's cleared at the feet of El Hamid, just as he might well have been dreaming of his first Celtic goal. Celtic have it with Christie still out wide, having taken the corner. Well defended there actually, because it was looking like it was going to go out for another corner. The sliding Susic prevents that. Throw in only. Level with the Cluj penalty spot for Celtic on that left hand side, and it's going to be left here, I think, to Bolingoli to take. And bang level with the penalty spot here in front of the big north stand on the far side. Taken short to Christie, back to Bolingoli, back to Christie. Well worked by Celtic, tries to drive it across, wins another corner. Good pressure this from Celtic these last 5 minutes or so, almost 18 minutes in, 0-0.
Yeah, it is, and they're getting a lot of joy down this left hand side, whether it be El Yanusi, Bolingoli, Ryan Christie over at this side as well. They're in control at the minute. It's been a good start for Celtic.
Outswinging delivery coming up again from Christie over on the far side, left-footed. Oh, that's just swung behind the line. It's not going to matter because Julian headed it over the crossbar. Again, having done so earlier, wouldn't have counted it hit the net. And it will be a goal kick here to Cluj. Celtic nil, Cluj nil.
He's won every header that's come in. You know, that was a high ball, but he's managed to go on the end of it again. And as I said, if they can continue to put in the quality of balls they're putting in, I'm sure he'll get his clear header at goal.
Hearing as well, Arsenal have run 2-0 up against Standard Liège, also in the Europa League groups. Kieran Tierney, formerly of this parish, with an assist tonight. So we hear it is still goalless at Celtic Park, as it is at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome, as Lazio face Rennes. 19 minutes played here then. Throw in to Celtic on the far side. Bolingoli bowling it forward there. And to El Yanusi, can't make it stick, and Cluj are coming away with it. They have it on the halfway line here. Pinched back by Christie inside the centre circle, going through the gears now. Good acceleration from Ryan Christie, taking it out to this near side. Forrest's run was checked, but Christie still has it. Now he's found Forrest, who's in the box. Wonderful play. Forrest right hand side, passes it across the 6-yard box. No takers, it's behind Bolingoli. Big chance that for Celtic. And it was superb build-up play as well. It stays goalless. 19.5 played. Celtic nil, Cluj nil.
That's a huge chance, and it's terrific play from Ryan Christie. You mentioned him earlier, the season he's been having so far.
That's another great ball to Bolingoli at the byline. The header's in from Edouard. Brilliant play by the Scottish champions down the left. Bolingoli crosses. Edouard executes it. It is superb play, and Celtic lead against the Romanian nemesis. Celtic 1, Cluj 0. Bang on 20.
You have to say it was coming. Another break down the left hand side. It looked like it was going to run out of play, but Bolingoli showing great speed, great awareness to pick out Edouard. A little dink ball to him. Fantastic header, and you have to say it's been coming. Celtic this so far have been absolutely brilliant. It's a tremendous pass from Cal McGregor. Bolingoli does terrific. Edouard's movement's excellent, and you have to say it's nothing less than Celtic deserve. They've been brilliant this first 20 minutes.
That was outstanding build-up. It really was. As James says there, McGregor starting it all. Bolingoli actually looked for a split second as though it was getting away from him. He managed to get to it by the byline, dinked it back into the 6-yard box. Edouard, simple header, past the Lithuanian in goal for Cluj, Arlauskis, and into the net it goes. And Celtic have the lead here in match day 2 in this Europa League group.
Cluj have just swapped Omrani and Diak. From Omrani from the right hand side. We know that he was struggling coming into the game, and Celtic have had so much joy down the left hand side, whether it be Bolingoli. He's always wanting to get on the move and get forward, and they've just not coped with it. They're hoping that this is going to change for them, but to be honest, Celtic will just go down the right hand side and use that advantage down that side.
Celtic's record signing, the man who sealed the treble at Hampden in the Scottish Cup final in May, once again coming up with a big goal, a big moment from Edouard. It's his 9th of the season, and it's given Celtic something to build on here. 1-0 up. You feel if they're going to qualify for the last 32 again this season, the home games will have to be taken care of. Here comes Celtic again with Callum McGregor. He's got options ahead of him. He's dancing towards the edge of the box. Little tackle comes in and it breaks to Forrest. Right foot cross ball flicked half away. There, it's not decisive, far from it there from Diak. Picked up in the midfield here by Christopher Ayer, who then squares it to Edouard. He's been very deep here. Shifting it forward to Forrest. Edouard continues his run, thought about the 1-2 instead. Forrest finds Christie. This is all about Celtic right now. They've got their foot on the Cluj throat, that's for sure. Bolingoli to Christie, to Edouard inside the box. runs into trouble, breaks back the way outside of the boot effort there from Bolingoli, sails over the crossbar, and it's Celtic 1, Cluj 0. We played a quarter of this Europa League match and Celtic are bossing it.
They are, and it's huge pressure from Celtic. Bolingoli with a nice little attempt outside of the left boot, and that shows you the confidence that he has. You know, we've spoke about him before, we talk about him defensively, but he's really grown into this position, and if Celtic are going to attack like this, it suits him down to the ground, because we done an interview earlier in the week and he spoke about being a winger and being converted to a left back, and you can see that he's just desperate to get forward, and the more Celtic have the ball, the more he'll be in the game. It's been a brilliant start from Celtic, but it's carried on from the performances against AIK, the performance against Rennes. They seem to have the final ball, but their speed of attack is really impressive.
It is Cluj on the ball though, attacking the Celtic box. Really good challenge there by Scott Brown to nick it away from Aurelio. It's now with Christie, left foot ball short there into the centre circle for Edouard. It's back with McGregor, he's run into trouble this time, and Cluj win it back through Susic. They have it on that right hand side, 4 waiting in the middle. In comes the cross, back heel, nonchalant flick clearance by Brown, but Cluj still have it in the edge of the area. The referee's going to bring it back for a free kick. He allowed initially an advantage, but the shot was sliced by Djokovic. I think it was Callum McGregor with the challenge just on the edge of the D. Yellow card as well for Callum McGregor, and Celtic have got a free kick to defend here, because Cluj will fancy that this is a big opportunity.
And it comes from what we spoke about, Bolingoli sprinting forward. I felt as though Edouard could just help it round the corner. He takes a touch and then they lose the ball, and that's where the gaps are going to be. If Celtic are going to go and attack, whether it be Scott Brown or Christopher Ayer stepping over to fill that gap in, they have to be wary that Cluj aren't here just to sit back and just take all the pressure. They will have a chance themselves, and they've got a great chance from a free kick here. Celtic though, you know, standing over this, it's a huge wall. It will have to be something special to get up and over this wall and past Fraser Forster, but it's in a good area. But stepping over this myself, I wouldn't fancy getting that up and down from there.
It'll be interesting to see how they work it then. Gordiani with the right or Deac with the left. Deac scored their first goal against Celtic here in August. He looks like he fancies it. Deac begins his run, he hits it for goal, Forster spills it, chance for a leveller here, it's turned home, flags up, flags up. That is not going to count, and it has stopped Kevin Bolly's celebrations before they truly began. They are going to the German referee to ask the question. It's not going to matter though. There is no VAR in the Europa League group stage as yet. They're bringing it in from the last 32, but it is not in the Europa League group stage. So Celtic do not have that to worry about. That otherwise may well have gone to the video assistant. It is though a Celtic free kick. James McFadden, there was a split second there when it looked as though Cluj were at it again in Glasgow's East End.
Yeah, and it comes from, spoke about the size of the wall, he goes round the wall to the goalkeeper's side, he spills it, and El Hamed's sleeping. He doesn't follow in. That's the danger. If you're going to both boxes follow in, make sure that you win your defensive side. If you're going to go and attack it, make sure you follow in, get a free hit at it, and that's what Cluj had there. They had a free hit, and the attacker actually made a mess of it at first, and it bounces to Bolly, who puts it away, and you know, it is a bit of a let off whether it was offside or not. The first contact,
we can't
you have to make sure
from this angle.
Yeah, but the first one you have to make sure that they don't get any encouragement. Follow in, make sure you do your job. The wall's there to do their job, they did. Fraser Forster done his job in goal. Could have probably got a stronger hand to it, but you still have to follow in as a defender and make sure you don't give them any encouragement.
Well, I mean, you were wondering how they were going to get the free kick up and down. He went the low road, and that caused the initial problem for Forster. We're hearing it's very, very tight, but offside. So the right call in the end. Here comes Celtic with Elyounoussi galloping down the far side. Christie goes down inside the box. He swept it across. It's picked up by the goalkeeper, Arlauskis. Christie's just getting himself back to his feet now. It's bowled out by the keeper, and that has just skipped away from Djokovic and out for a throw-in to Celtic on this near side. So mentally, Cluj not only having to deal with the fact that they are 1-0 down now thanks to that Edouard header, 27 played, they're also annoyed because they felt they'd equalised before it was ruled out by referee Seibert. It is Cluj on the ball on this near side, clip forward there by Kamora. Up the line it goes, it's helped on its way there by Omrani, who, as James was saying earlier, was a big doubt for the game tonight, starts. Scored twice here in August. As Christie tries to get it into his stride, he's going to get the free kick as well. Up there against Bordiano. And this is just before the midway point of the Cluj half down in this near side. In fact, it's been taken a bit further back even than that. So we're getting to almost level with the edge of the centre circle in the Cluj half here. And the ref trying to calm things down a bit. 28 minutes played. Celtic 1, Cluj 0. Poor ball by Christie from the free kick, unusually. Cluj have it in the middle of Aurelio. He's been fouled. That's going to be a free kick to the visitors, midway inside their own half. And, well, Celtic don't need to look too far back for the warning signs against this team. They're 1-0 up and looking comfortable. But there were not too many moments looked particularly comfortable in August, but they twice scored goals that looked like they was going to take them through to the Champions League playoff. It didn't happen for them. So they have to be wary of that, but this has been a pretty good measured performance. There's been plenty of good stuff played out there by the Scottish champions as well.
Yeah, and I think that the last couple of minutes has been a bit scrappy. Free kick in the middle of the park, a couple of fouls, but it's difficult because even at the time when Celtic went ahead against Cluj in the Champions League game, they're not the type of side that will sit back and try and absorb the pressure. They continue to play, they continue to get it forward and try and score goals, and that's what they have to do. But they just have to be mindful that Cluj do pose a threat. They know that. They know that Cluj pose a threat. Not to give them any encouragement, and just do the simple things well.
It's good football again out on the left. Edouard, he's forced it to McGregor, cuts it back towards the 18-yard line. It's knocked away. Just a couple of wrong decisions in the final third are meaning Celtic aren't getting more chances than they've actually managed to create in the game. They've missed a couple of really good opportunities in the match, and that's been the slight problem for Celtic in recent weeks, in that they've had loads of the ball. They've been playing some really nice stuff, but perhaps not punitive enough.
No, because Cluj are retreating very well. Omrani is sitting up front, kind of on the right hand side, the left hand side, on Celtic's right hand side on El Hamed, and hoping that they can, spark a counter attack. But the rest of the team are getting back quick. They're getting back in numbers, and it's difficult. You can't find that killer pass, every time they go forward. But certainly every time Celtic went forward, they look like they can create a good opportunity to score a goal, and it's still encouraging for them.
Long ball there from Arlauskis, the goalkeeper, up towards halfway. It's Ayer who finds Brown. We're bang on the half hour. Celtic leading the Romanian champions Cluj by 1-0. A little pirouette there from Scott Brown on the far side. He must be enjoying himself. He's getting his bag of tricks open as it's picked up by Christie, looking for El Yanusi. It's cut out and out for a throw-in to Celtic, which Bolingoli is eager to take quickly. You can see that, even just little things like that, when you see them taking throw-ins as quickly as they are, when they're not in a particularly attacking situation, you can see that they really want to go for the throat tonight.
Well, they do that every week. Domestically they do it every week. I think
I was going to say it's not always been the case in European games, even here in recent years.
No, it hasn't been. In sometimes, previous years it's been free-flowing football and possession-based, and now it's not geared so much to possession, but they look like they're in control of the game. They'll put their foot on it. Scott Brown there, he could have went forward, but he does his little pirouette and starts again. But it's control. They have control, and when they break in numbers at pace. And so far this season, even in the Cluj game here, they still scored 3 goals. That their attacking play in the second half was brilliant. It was just they made simple errors in defence that cost them the game.
Think of the Scott Brown handball that gave away the penalties.
That gives them the impetus to go and really go for it. But then Celtic's recovery again was to score a goal. And when they play week on week, they go and they get a goal. They don't sit back and defend the lead. They go and try and get another goal, and they try and kill the game. And that's, I suppose the beauty of it tonight is there's no away goal. So even if they go and get pegged back, they can still go and continue to play their game.
Well, flicked by Christie. It's going to go behind though for the goal kick from the long ball there. We played 32, Celtic 1, Cluj 0. In Group E, again, last we heard, still goalless in Rome. Lazio hosting Rennes. Earlier in Rangers Group, 2-1 defeat for Steven Gerrard's side to Young Boys. They led at half-time through Morelos, but late capitulation there, having missed chances to win the game themselves late on. They finished Young Boys 2, Rangers 1 in Bern, and Feyenoord beat Porto 2-0, so all 4 teams on 3 points. Celtic 1-0 up here in Group E on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland on the medium wave. Here comes Brown for Celtic, goes for goal and slices it. I think he feels he was fouled there. He's having a look at the referee, more in hope than expectation, as that was shanked wide for a goal kick. It stays at 1-0 on 33.
It's brilliant play from Edouard. He comes off, holds his man off, flicks it round the corner to Scott Brown, who runs, and he's obviously still, buzzing off of that little pirouette. He thinks he can score from there. It's not his strongest point, Scott's.
Certainly not anymore. 1 or 2 hammer goals in the past couple for the national team, I seem to remember.
Yeah, it's not, listen, that just shows you as well, it goes up to Edouard. It's not that Scott Brown's sitting deep and trying to snuff out the danger. He's wanting to get forward. Every player is trying to go forward, and they're trying to get that second goal that will really, put Cluj on the ropes.
He's got 19 major honours in his career. He's got 18 of them at Celtic. One of the most decorated players in Celtic's history. And it's a frightening amount of silverware, really, isn't it? And James Forrest's not that far behind him.
It's not. Of course, it's hugely impressive, but it's the fact that he's always available. Bar maybe 1 or 2 seasons where he's been out for 2 or 3 months at a time, he's always there. You can tell he looks after himself. He's naturally fit anyway, but he's always there. He's still the guy that the players will be so happy that he's in the side. There was talk a year or 2 ago about him maybe being phased out. It doesn't look like he's slowing down to me, and that can only be good for Celtic, because he's just got this presence about him. He's got like a persona when he goes on the pitch. I've said this loads of times, he's such a fun, he likes a bit of fun off the pitch, but as soon as he crosses that white line, he goes into game mode, and he's always there. He's, look at him,
he's won it back there in the midfield.
He's absolutely bullying the midfielder there.
Here he goes,
starting an attack.
He's found Edouard on the edge of the box. Edouard with a step over, he's on the left foot, he shoots, deflected up high, and the goalkeeper will hold on to it. Again, it's lovely build-up play by Celtic as the rain continues to thunder down from above. 10 minutes to half-time, Celtic leading 1-0 thanks to that goal scored by Odsonne Edouard, his 9th of the season. It came on the 20-minute mark, and Celtic deservedly 1-0 up, and it is an increasingly frustrated Dan Petrescu down below us as he slaps both thighs, turns round to his dugout, takes his seat again. He's not happy with the way this game is going, and in truth Cluj have been well beaten so far. The positive for him is that it's just 1-0 to Celtic.
Yeah, and it's a long ball from the goalkeeper. Rondon, I think, goes up for it, and Diak tries to gamble and go in behind, and then Julian just cushions it down to Bolingoli, and I think that's what's frustrating them, because they're trying to attack in 1s and 2s, and it's not enough. It's not going to be enough. They might catch Celtic in the break at some point, but it needs to be more. They need to have more ambition coming here. But I have to say, it's probably down to the fact that Celtic have been so good going forward.
Cluj on the ball, though. It's swept out to this left-hand side here with Camora as they look to find an equaliser. Camora with the long ball in. It's a decent delivery as well. Bolingoli had to be careful. He gets the break because it comes off Omrani just round about the right angle of the 6-yard box and goes behind for the goal kick. But that was a really good ball in from this near side. It was whipped in to that corridor, and it was a dangerous situation for Celtic to deal with in there. And Bolingoli, he was caught on the wrong side.
Yeah, it was a great ball in, and Cluj had 3 men in the box. I just spoke about them trying to attack in 1s and 2s. They had 3 men in the box. Bolingoli's positioning was excellent. I think he should go and head it. He tries to clear it away with his right foot. He should go and head it, but the positive is it's a decent ball, a very good ball, sorry, but they're positionally very good, and in the end they deal with it. I think the referee was indicating it could have been an offside, but still a good position, good starting point from Bolingoli, and they dealt with it in the end.
37 minutes played. El Yunusi almost got a break of the ball up the other end of the pitch there. It's going to be cleared there down the right by Susic, and all the way through to Fraser Forster. We'll play it short there to Ayer. Since losing to Cluj, Celtic have played 10 games, 8 wins, 2 draws. As Forster goes long with the right foot, it's Bolly who'll knock it into the centre circle with his chest. There he's under serious duress now, Forrest and Christie, but it's pinched back by Bordianu inside the centre circle. His ball forwards poor, can't find a teammate. It's picked up by Christie as El Hamid moves in support down the right hand side, and then it goes out of play for a throw into Celtic off the defender. And Christie's going to take El Hamid, preferred to Moritz Bauer tonight. He's on the bench for Celtic at right back, the Austrian international. So that's knocked forward there by Cluj, but it's going to break to McGregor. Midway inside Cluj territory, he's found Forrest. McGregor continues his run down the right hand side. Forrest though taking it himself at the moment. Right foot ball in too high as he aimed towards the back post for El Yanusi. It goes out of play for a throw in on the far side. 7 minutes from the interval, and Celtic still 1-0 up here in Europa League Group E.
I think you mentioned earlier about it's not always been the case in Europe where they can go and attack and keep going. I think certainly if Celtic might be thinking about the 2 games against Cluj and know they're better than them, but when they played Rennes, the most impressive thing for me was the control they had in the game. You could see that they had so much confidence to whatever they've done, take a touch, to put it in behind. They know it's going to stick with Edouard. They know they've got pace in the wings and they've got trickery to go and hurt teams. But I think it's just a belief that they're the best team here. They're the best team on the park. And the fact that they go to Rennes and dominate them as much as they did. They spoke to a boring fact coming up here. I spoke to one of the fans and he was disappointed in how Rennes approached the game, because they like to play football. They like to build from the back and create chances from that, and Celtic didn't allow them to do that. And this is a team,
to Celtic's credit, isn't it?
And that's a team that had beaten PSG on more than one occasion. Obviously won the cup by beating PSG, and Celtic stopped them from playing their game. So I think it's down to the fact that Celtic have a sheer belief that they're better than Cluj, they're better than Rennes, and the fact that Cluj beat Lazio, it means that if they can get through this game, they can go and play against a Lazio who aren't the Lazio of the 90s. Let's not kid ourselves, and really have a belief that they can go and do the same to them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually talking of cup competitions. Cluj were knocked out of the Romanian Cup on penalties last midweek, 8 days ago, by Botisani. They've got recent disappointment in their minds. Celtic don't have much of that recently, albeit a draw in Edinburgh the weekend against Hibs wasn't the ideal result for them, as Christie collects in the midfield, and lovely play again, finds Forrest looking for Christie once more. It's won back by Kamara, and then Brown trying to pinch it back for Celtic, which he duly does against Djokovic, looking to spread it out to the left for Bolingoli. Is he going to get onto it? He has done. Brilliant from Celtic again, brilliant from Brown again. Bolingoli collects on the far side, finds Callum McGregor looking to get it into his stride. Heavy touch allows Susic to clear. Long ball which has been chased by Rondon, and it's out of play for a Celtic throw-in. Celtic 1, Cluj 0, 40.5 minutes played at Celtic Park, and again it's wonderful build-up play, and it's Scott Brown once more.
Yeah, it comes from Scott Brown. He just bullies Djokovic again. Djokovic looks like he's all action, loads of energy, wants to press, bit of an enforcer if you like in midfield, and Scott Brown's absolutely bullied him the last 2 times he's come anywhere near him, and no surprise that he's dropping back and trying to stay away from him now.
Edouard moving back into his own half, passing it back to Julian. Low ball along the deck for Christie, and now it's out to James Forrest. They're working well down the right and the left tonight, Celtic. It's Forrest on the right here at the right angle of the box, outside of the boot along the ground to McGregor, squared to Bolingoli, out to the left hand side for El Yanusi. Celtic trying to weave their way through here. Edouard, now McGregor, now Christie. Christie looks up, reverse ball, almost found El Yanusi. It's straight at Kamara, who clears it up towards the centre circle, and now there's a chance for Bilal Omrani to drive towards the edge of the box. It's with Rondon. It's just the two of them. Rondon's taking a dive there. He's taken a dive. That's got to be a yellow card. Has to be.
It's shocking. I mean, it's great skill. He puts it through the legs, and he just goes down. He knows he's not going to get there, but good recovery from Celtic. But
he dived so late. We were almost on match day 3,
and the referee was going to just wave play on. I didn't think he was going to book him at first.
Well, he has done now. Yeah,
he has now. But having said that, it's still a little warning that they are, still a threat on the counter. But that's a shocking dive. I hate to see that. All right, it's maybe something he's not thought about. I don't know what type of player he is, but it's a shocking
thinking the
dive.
challenge is coming. Then when the disappointment hits him that it's not, he's going down anyway.
I think he's put it through his legs. He thinks he's going to get there, sees he's not, and just goes down.
Yeah.
It's absolutely shocking.
2.5 to the break. Celtic 1, Cluj 0. Odson Edouard with a header from a Bolingoli cross, having got to the byline. That is Celtic's only goal so far. Neil Lennon will be annoyed perhaps that they haven't worked the goalkeeper as much as he would have liked, but here they come now with Elyounoussi out to Forrest on the right hand side. Good take, right hand side of the box, plays it across, behind by Bolly for a Celtic corner. They look in the mood tonight, don't they?
They do, and Julian's just bullied Rondon, passed it into Elyounoussi, who's won his tackle, and then he's went on the overlap. And if James Forrest had seen him, he could have just stood it up to the back post, and he's obviously going to tower above anybody there, but it's still a decent, pick out from Forrest. He's trying to fizz it across to Edouard, who'd made a good run as well, but Celtic are certainly in the mood tonight. 43
minutes is the scoreboard above the Lisbon line stand to our right, where Christie takes the corner in front of. It's headed away though at the near post by Rondon, booked a moment ago for that outrageous bit of simulation in the Celtic box as he tried to con the referee into awarding him a penalty. It's a throw-in taken by Al-Hamid to Christie, passes it back onto the centre circle for Chris Ayer. He's moving out towards the north stand on that far side, rolls it forward for Edouard, takes it down, clips it into the path of Bolingoli, goes for goal, and it's right down the throat of the goalkeeper, who holds on. It's really good play again, and Odson Edouard, he's the main striker, but he was the set-up man there for Bolingoli, and given where it arrived at his feet, and given he's got a good strike on him, he's probably well within his rights to have a go.
Yeah, I think you get a bit excited there, but it's fantastic play again from Edouard. Ayer using the movement of Elyounoussi wide to just fizz it right into Edouard, and see, when you're playing up front, you don't mind as long as if it's fired in, then you can deal with it. Edouard's touch is sublime, and he brings Bolingoli in, who, yeah, you're right, he probably within his rights, but I felt as though he could have carried it on. I think Forrest and Christie were coming in at the back, and Celtic, you feel, have to really try and push to get this second goal, just so that it knocks the stuffing right out of Cluj.
Yeah, we just erase any kind of nerves that might develop later on in the game if we're looking at this match come 80 minutes and it's still sitting at 1-0. Could get a little bit nervy, and Celtic looking to build on that positive start with that draw in France against Rennes a couple of weeks ago. They've sorted out some of the away form, it has to be said, going to Sweden, putting 4 past AIK. The draw in Cluj was a good standalone result. Coming into the second leg, it's almost like they've done the hard bit as far as that was concerned. They need to sort the home form, because it hasn't been terrific in group stage football going back over the last period of time, probably since Neil Lennon was last in charge. Since beating Barcelona here, the group stage home record in the Champions and Europa League is played 18 and won just 6 of them, lost 11. The 18 before that, they'd won 10 and lost just 2. So they have to step up to that kind of level in the home games to stand a chance of progressing deep into this competition, beyond the last 32 even.
Yeah, they do, and I think that the
injury time, 1 minute.
The games you mentioned, I keep saying it's how much they're in control, and at the minute they're in control, but if you're Petrescu, you're hoping you can get your side in at 1-0 and try and, I don't know what they're going to do in the second half, but try and get some sort of control in this game, because at the minute Celtic just look like they're going to run over the top of Cluj.
Here come Cluj. We played the 1 minute of injury time. Cluj coming forward, it's away by Julian, the pass towards the box, and then the referee blows for half time just as Cluj were looking for a free kick towards the edge of the Celtic box, and Bordianu went down anyway. That's not going to matter because it is half time at Celtic Park. The players heading up here towards the tunnel, and Odson Edouard scoring his 9th goal of the season on 20 minutes. McGregor releasing Bolingoli down the left. He got to the byline, kept it in play. Not just that, he chipped it back for Edouard, who headed it past Arlauskis to give Celtic the lead. They'd been in charge of proceedings after a scrappy kind of opening few minutes of the game. They really did at that point begin to turn the screw. There was a Julian header which went over the goalkeeper and made a terrific save from a header. There was 3 Celtic players attacked. I'm not sure who got the final touch. Julian, Ayer and Edouard all went for it, and it came bouncing back point blank off the goalkeeper as Celtic pressed for the opening goal. They then got it through Edouard. The only real nervy moment for Celtic in that first half came on 26 minutes when the centre half Kevin Bolly had the ball in the net for Cluj, it was ruled offside. We're hearing it was the correct call, but it was a very tight call. Bolingoli with a shot towards the end of the first half there after set-up play from Edouard. Celtic perhaps would prefer to have tested the goalkeeper a bit more than they have, but this has been a terrific first half performance from the Scottish champions, who go up the tunnel at half-time, deservedly in front. Celtic 1, CFR Cluj 0.
Celtic in the Europa League. Live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.
It's a Celtic goal!
When Rangers reached half-time in Bern, they were in front and they were heading to be clear at the top of the table. It all turned against them in the second half, and as it eventually ended up, 2 home wins in Group G for Young Boys and Feyenoord, and all 4 teams have 3 points. But right now, Celtic are heading to the top of Group E. Lazio and Rennes 0-0 at half-time. Celtic deservedly in front, thanks to Odsonne Edouard's goal in the 20th minute, his 9th of the season, as Liam said. When Cluj were last there, Michael Stewart, they went in at half-time with the advantage. Celtic have given them no encouragement at all this evening, have they?
No, not at all. Very impressive performance from Celtic in that first half, and thoroughly deserved to be in front at half-time. Excuse me. I was just, one of the things that was catching my eye there in the first half was the energy of the Celtic side.
Yeah.
They were right on top of the Romanians, and I don't think you could look past Scott Brown as being the guy that was at he was the heartbeat, he was at the centre of a lot of it. Now, I was just looking at the ages of the two sides. Scott Brown is obviously the oldest player on the Celtic side. He's the oldest player on the park at 34. But that Cluj side, they've got 5 players over 30. Celtic have only got 2. Scott Brown's the only outfield player at 34, and I think he was the mainstay. But you look at the youth in the side, they've got 7 players under 26. The Romanians have got 8 players over 28. And I think it's been telling. The energy levels, the intensity, really impressive from Celtic. And yeah, I don't think anybody could argue against them deserving that first half lead.
There were a number of other opportunities, a couple of saves from the keeper. If there is a frustration, and I know this kind of becomes a cliche sometimes after a good first 45 minutes, but Neil Lennon's only frustration would be that it is just 1-0, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think Christopher Julien had a couple of headers that, they weren't the easiest. And even the first one that looks as if, he should do better. I think he should, but to try and sort of give him a wee bit of leeway on that one is that it's slightly behind him, which then limits his ability to be able to pick where he can put it. And then there's a couple others similarly a wee bit just behind him, and then there's one that I think he just missed time slightly, but they were good opportunities. Edouard, a really nice step over on the edge of the box, looks as if it's opened up the angle for him, and then I think Bursa comes back and gets a good block on it eventually. But I just think that the performance from Celtic, and you've just said it is a bit of a cliche, but it certainly is appropriate there in that first half. That the one thing that Neil Lennon will be a wee bit disappointed about is that they've not got a bigger advantage there from the first half. 1-0. It could easily have been 2 or 3.
The one scary moment, I suppose, was when Cluj did have the ball in the net at 26 minutes. Now it's producer Dougie who's passing this on to Liam and James, and he's suggesting it was a tight decision, the offside. I mean, for me it was clear cut, but maybe you have a different view, Michael.
Well, I think it was. Well, here's my take on it. I think that Rondon, who picks it up first of all, is offside. Is that correct? That Rondon picks it up first and then he puts it across the goal.
I think that one's tight. I think that then
who's it? So who puts it in the back of the net?
So it's then knocked across for Bolly, who puts it in.
So Bolly puts it in the back of the net. And to me, I think that's tight. And the linesman for me he doesn't give the Rondon offside. I think he gives it for Bolly putting it in the back of the net.
I think he does as well. I actually thought Rondon was probably was in line initially
Well,
for the initial challenge, but then as it breaks and then the ball is knocked across the volley, for me he's clearly offside.
Well, I was the reverse of that. I thought Rondon was, and look, they're both very
could have been off.
Just as well.
They're both very tight. They're both very tight.
Right.
But I think Rondon for me is definitely offside from the first free kick, and then Bolly is marginal. I'd have to see it again, but
right.
Ultimately, the right decision's been made, because I think Rondon was I'm positive Rondon was offside to begin with, and the flag should go up.
Just as well we're not the VAR team
Yes.
advising the officials.
Well, we'd have got there eventually,
Well, we
Richard.
would. Aye.
Yeah.
Just might have been as Liam said in the commentary. Yeah, it might have been match day 3. Talking of which, how embarrassing was that for Rondon, guys? I mean, the dive a couple of minutes before half time. I mean, there's a yard of clear space between him and any Celtic player, isn't there?
I mean, you're watching it at the time, you think, oh, he's away here, he's got through his legs. And then, I don't think he makes an attempt to try and get the ball on the other side. He just, I don't know what he does. It's difficult. I've only seen it once, but
he
it
knocks
was an
it past.
embarrassing dive.
Yeah, it is. He knocks it past the defender, and then, whether he realises he's not going to get to it, or whether he's just a cheat, I don't know. But he literally just buckled his legs and threw himself to the ground.
Well, whether he's a cheat regardless, he's trying to con the ref, he's cheating the ref, and thankfully the ref dealt with it. As I said at the time, it looked like he was going to just wave play on and let him off with it. I'm glad to see that he pulled out the yellow card, because you don't want to be encouraging that. It wasn't close, there might have been contact or he slipped. No. It's a blatant dive, and thankfully the referee got it right in the end.
Incidentally, in Group F, Arsenal 3-0 up against Standard Liège. Gabriel Martinelli with a couple, Joe Willock's got the other. The bits I've been able to see from that, Kieran Tierney has been outstanding on the Arsenal left. He certainly put in a magnificent, it was a great cross, magnificent header from Martinelli for his first, but a really, really good cross to the near post. I've seen him put in 2 or 3 other crosses. He's getting plenty of the ball, so hopefully that is Kieran Tierney getting back to full fitness and getting ready to play a major part for Arsenal. And of course for Scotland, our next couple of qualifiers just around the corner. Both will be live with us here on Sportsound on BBC Radio Scotland 810 medium wave 92 to 95 FM, online and on digital. Earlier we were with Rangers. We'll get some reaction from Rangers at some point. 2-1 for Young Boys and 2-0 Feyenoord against Porto. I know Telly are having a look at a challenge on Scott Brown. They're suggesting there was an intentional elbow on Scott Brown. There's certainly a tussle there, and he certainly got caught with an elbow. There have been 1 or 2 moments, 1 or 2 little flare-ups or potential flare-ups, but over the piece, Celtic pretty much untroubled in the opening 45 minutes. And I was thinking the last time Michael Cluj were in town, Neil Lennon couldn't trust Bolingoli. He'd played against Motherwell, had a horrible first. I think he got better in the second in that 5-2 game, but he did a terrible first half, kept miscontrolling the ball, knocking it out of play, and Neil Lennon just kept him out, and well, as we discussed earlier, he ended up with Callum McGregor at left back at one stage. It's a very different Bolingoli we're seeing tonight.
Well, I've got to say that I thought he started the game a little bit up in the air. There's a few occasions, still defensively, I'm not 100% sure about him, but there's no doubt that in possession he's settled down and he looks a lot more comfortable. But I can think of one defensively where he goes to clear it with his right foot instead of try to header it, and it goes behind for a by kick, fortunately. But the run and the cross that he makes for the goal is, I think, what you can clearly see are his strengths.
Yeah.
It was a really good stand up to get to the byline and just get enough air in it to get past Bursa at the near post, and for Edouard to be able to out-muscle Bolly and get in the back of the net. So yeah, there's no doubt there's an improvement from Bolingoli. Defensively though, I'm still a little bit unsure, but there's undoubtedly been a big improvement in him.
Well, the other one, of course, and you touched on this earlier, Bolingoli was left out initially early, got a couple of games, then out again, but Julien, he has proved to be such a threat in the opposition box, but are you seeing him improve game in, game out defensively?
Yeah,
definitely.
Sorry,
yeah, on you go, guy.
I think that it's just the composure that he has. He looks like he can win the aerial duels. He's happy, being man for man at the back. and sometimes that's not always the case with centre backs. And I just think he brings a confidence to the guys in front of him, that they know that they can go and attack, and they know that he'll be able to deal with it.
When I was looking through the team, obviously I was looking at all the ages as well, and Julien, he's 26-year-old. I think he's at a really good age.
Yeah.
I think he looks like a confident player himself, and like Fadi's saying there, composure, and he's commanding as well. He looks good in the ball, looks like he can handle himself physically, and yeah, I mean, the more I see of him, the more I'm just surprised that he wasn't in that game against Cluj the first time round. Whether he was carrying a knock or whether he wasn't 100% fit, I don't know, but when you look at him, you can understand why Celtic have splashed the cash for him, because I think he looks like a really, really good acquisition.
Right, don't want to get carried away here, because Rangers were in a similar situation as well, and then the second half turned against them. But right now, Michael, looking very good for Celtic in the early stages of this group.
Yeah, definitely. To get the draw away from home, which I thought was a well worthy point for them to get against Rennes, and now this performance and half-time scoreline. Yeah, this is looking very good for Celtic, and looking at the games to come as well. I just think that with this Celtic side, I just think there's a real good continuity to the team. There's a balance. Especially, obviously, we've all looked at them defensively thinking they needed to strengthen. I think they have, and I think they've got a real attacking intent and cutting edge at the top end of the park. So for looking further ahead, I think they're well placed to get out of this group and have a real fist at the Europa League.
I must admit that crossed my mind earlier, because look, it's about maintaining it over a much longer period, but the level of performance so far, you go into France and outplay Rennes in their own stadium to get a draw. They're currently outplaying a team that has already picked up a home win against Lazio in this group. If they continue to perform as they have tonight and see this one through, they'll go into that, and of course they've got Lazio at home first in the double header. They'll go into that brimming with confidence, won't they?
Definitely. That's a huge game, and important as well that you're saying there that the Lazio home game comes first.
Yeah.
Because psychologically, if they're able to put in a performance like this, I mean, granted, we're before we get too ahead of ourselves,
yes,
hopefully if they get 3 points here tonight, they go into the Lazio game and can put in a performance and then hopefully get the 3 points from that, they're in an absolutely fantastic position to be going to Rome, full of confidence and belief that they can get something and get out of the group. And you look at last year coming down and out the Champions League qualifiers and then into the Europa League. Now, again, they were up against some handy sides in that Europa League group stage, but there still seemed like there was a bit of a gulf and it was a struggle. This time round, I think that Celtic looked like one of the dominant sides in this group.
Sports Sound tomorrow night, incidentally, live rugby, Glasgow Warriors against Scarlet. The BBC Scotland channel has live championship football. The 7:05 kick-off between Alloa Athletic and Dundee United. And of course, we'll be on right across the weekend. Open all mics. Live commentary game on Saturday afternoon is Aberdeen against Hibernian. A couple of matches, of course, involving Celtic and Rangers coming up on this Sunday. It's going to be a busy weekend. It'll all be live with us here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. 810 medium wave. Dan Petrescu may just be keeping the Cluj players in the dressing room a little bit longer. They are emerging now. Down below our commentary team there in the main stand. Remember, Celtic in front. Odsonne Edouard's 9th goal of the season. It has been another excellent performance in a season that has been brimming with such performances throughout the course of the first few months of the campaign. Neil Lennon absolutely purring, I'm sure, at the side's display. Let's hope they see it through this time against Cluj. Celtic 1, Cluj 0. Back to James and Liam.
Celtic up against the Railwaymen, as they are known as in their homeland. The Transylvanians, CFR Cluj, in the second half underway. Celtic kicking off right to left, green and white hoop shirts, white shorts, green socks. Cluj in their wine red colours as it goes out of play for a Celtic throw-in on the far side. No changes to the lineups, no changes to the weather either, because it is teeming rain in Glasgow right now as El Hamid at right back for Celtic bowls it towards the Cluj box. It's flicked away by Bolly, only as far as El Yanusi. His header carries it to Christie on the right hand side. Short ball to Forrest. Forrest dropping the shoulder, moving towards the penalty area. It's good defending. This time though, over on that far side by Camora. And it's a long clearance from him. It's going to be a free kick to Cluj though, just outside the centre circle. There's a yellow card coming too for Christopher Julian for the foul, which is just outside the centre circle in opposition territory. So it's a cheap yellow card for Julian to collect as he went in late with the tackle there into the second minute of the second half. 1-0 Celtic.
It is a cheap foul, but he goes tight. He can't see if Bolingoli's matched his runner, so sometimes you have to just make the foul and try and stop the game. As it happened, Ayer and Bolingoli had dealt with it, but it's just sometimes you need to make those fouls just to kill the momentum of the attacking side.
Free kick then to Cluj just outside the centre circle, inside their own half. It's floated forward there by Burka. He's managed to find Rondon as well. He's dinked it forward. There's a chance here for Diak on the right hand side, cutting it back towards the 6-yard line. It's cleared by Brown, who's in the right place at the right time. Headed back into the penalty area by Aurelio. And then on the volley, it's well wide in the end from Orani. It is back to goal as well at an angle, around about the left angle of the 6-yard box, and he puts it well wide. Into the third minute we go in the second half. Celtic still 1-0 up, but that right there was enough to move Neil Lennon to come racing to the edge of his technical area, and I think he's passing on the message, keep the head.
Yeah, it's Bolingoli. I mean, every time Cluj look to go forward, you're looking at Bolingoli, but it's just the wrong side. He gets the wrong side and he can't do anything about it. The only thing he can do is make a foul, so he does the right thing, but it's just another warning. I'm sure that Neil Lennon would have been saying at half time, keep going, keep playing in their half, don't give them any encouragement, try and get an early goal, try and knock the stuffing out of them and really put the game to bed. But it's something that they're going to have to be careful of, because they don't want to start flat and they don't want to give Cluj any encouragement to get back into this game.
Throw in Cluj on about the halfway line on this near side to be taken by Mateo Susic, the right back, flicked on by Rondon, clear by Bolingoli. It's going to break to the midfielder Aurelio, and then Christie has done really well. He's just managed to flick it away from Dianu, and on the right it is now with Forrest. Lovely plays inside the area, he shoots across the face of goal and it goes wide. Really, really nice run by James Forrest, something we've seen so much from him across his career, but particularly James in the last 2 to 3 seasons, where he really has upped the ante as a Celtic player, and indeed with the national team, as you know too well.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant again from Ryan Christie. Great pressure, does enough to get the ball into James Forrest's path. And the difference between James Forrest from now to 3 or 4 years ago, even 2 or 3 years ago, he's running directly at goal. He's not running into the space wide, he's running directly at goal, he's committing players. It's a lovely little nutmeg he gets, and he's a bit unfortunate with his shot, but there's players again for Celtic getting in at the back post. They're still trying to attack, they're committing bodies forward, and he has been a huge player for Celtic. But the impressive
end product now as well, which is perhaps something that was levelled at him he didn't have enough of in the kind of earlier stages of his career.
Yeah, he has, certainly. You know, when he goes wide, if he's wide, he can cut back and cross it with his left foot, he can cut inside and shoot with his left foot. He's crossing, when he gets to the byline, he just stands it up, he puts it in an area. It's hard to defend against. When James was younger, you know, the end product wasn't as good as what it is now. His crossing probably wasn't as good as...
We've got a problem here. Julian, he's lost out. It's well defended by Al-Hamid though, because Rondon snipped the opportunity, got it off Julian, was moving towards the box, but for Al-Hamid he'd have been in one-on-one with Forster. It's out for a throw-in only to Cluj, level with the Celtic D over on that far side. Cluj going left to right, taking short to Omrani, who has it level with the penalty spot, being shepherded and chaperoned by Al-Hamid. He's found Christie as he wins it back, and then it's out for a throw-in off a Cluj boot for Celtic on the far side. We're just talking about James Forrest there, James, and caught up in your prime by a little error by Julian, which almost set the cat amongst the pigeons here. It stays 1-0 Celtic.
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, sometimes James, they would run down the wing and the end product wasn't as good, but now he's got so much to his game that you can't tell where he's going to go. He's comfortable coming in or out.
Cluj again threatening, a nice bit of passing. They haven't seen too much of that in the game from them, but that was a heavy one from Jokovic, and it comes all the way through to Forster. who has it at the edge of his own box here. Long ball with the right foot from Fraser Forster, still just 31. Forster, you kind of forget how young he was when he was here in his first spell. A few years, initially a couple of loan spells from Newcastle, as the referee goes to his top pocket because of a foul on James Forrest over there. This time I think it's Djokovic who is the latest to go into the boots. 2 for Cluj, 1 for Celtic. McGregor picked up a yellow in the first half. Rondon and Djokovic. Rondon for his dive. The experienced striker should know better at the age of 33, and Djokovic was into the book for that late one on Forrest.
Yeah, it's good play again. Celtic, their pressing's been great. They're not allowing Cluj time on the ball, and James Forrest just nicks in, and it looked like a heavy tackle from here. But again, it's just good play from Celtic. Michael spoke about it, the energy, the pace they have. They have that when they're attacking, but they also have it in pressing the game and making it difficult for Cluj. I keep saying it, they have to be wary, because they are showing as if they have a bit more intent in the second half, as you would expect, because it was so poor in the first half. They just need to be wary that they don't switch off.
Christine Elyounoussi over the free kick. It's about 10 yards from the right hand side of the centre circle. It's up high into the Cluj box and headed behind for the corner there by Burkat. This will do nicely for Celtic, keeping the pressure on the Romanian champions. 52 minutes played, still leading thanks to that 20th minute goal from Odson Edouard and his 9th of the season. Short corner by Forrest to Christie. Christie poking it back the way to Bolingoli. Takes a touch with the undersole of his left boot before rolling it back down this left hand side to Forrest. Level with the Cluj penalty spot. Right foot cross, ball comes in, headed away by Bolly, up into the air, still inside the box. It's bouncing around awkwardly. Ayers hit the deck there. He's told to get back to his feet by the German referee, and now Cluj can come away with it down this near side. Celtic leading by a goal to nil as Deak plays it back to his goalkeeper, and then the long ball from Arlauskis up towards halfway is helped on its way by Rondon. Brown trying to get to it on the far side, which he does, and then he sweeps it up towards the halfway line, but it's straight back into Cluj possession with Bordianu, and now it's played all the way back here to the right centre half, Andrei Burkat. Low ball forward is going to be poor touch actually there by Deak as it breaks away of Christie on this near side, and then McGregor, the marker, had a little bit of his shirt there, not enough to draw the free kick. McGregor's the well to win it back, having lost it momentarily. Back to Bolingoli, he moves it to the edge of the centre circle for Brown, to the right for Forrest. Now it's with Brown again, chip ball looking for El Hamid, asking a lot of the Israeli, but it's going to be out for a Celtic throw-in of Camora on that far side. Celtic 1, Cluj 0 on 53 and a half.
I don't like that. Callum McGregor's clearly been pulled back, and if he goes down, he's going to blow up and give him the foul. But in the end, he runs, and it allows Cluj to get back at him, so there's no advantage. So for me, the referee's just got to blow and give the foul.
Yeah, basically because he stayed on his feet, he doesn't get it. They've got a free kick here. Elyounoussi brought down just to the left of the centre circle. Cluj have a man down just now as well, so there may well be attention required here. Is it Omrani that's down just in front of us? No, it's not sure who's down there. It might be Deak actually. Anyway, there's going to be attention given to him. 9 minutes played in this second half. No goals as yet. Last we heard, Lazio Rennes in the other game in this group earlier. Young Boys 2, Rangers 1. Disappointment for Rangers after beating Feyenoord in match day 1. They lose tonight in the Swiss city of Bern. Feyenoord were 2-0 winners over Porto, so all 4 teams in that group sit on 3 points after 2 games. And as far as this group's concerned, it's going very nicely for Celtic right now. As it stands, they'd be top of the group after 2 match days, after Cluj beat Lazio a couple of weeks back. In fact, Rennes have just gone in front in Rome. So, talking about the cat going into amongst the pigeons, James Lazio, who began this campaign as the favourites to top the section, who lost to Cluj on match day 1, are behind at home to Rennes. Here Celtic lead Cluj 1-0 10 minutes into the second half, and the goal scorer was Jeremy Morel for Rennes. So the French team lead the Italians. Change coming up for Cluj, which we'll get to in just a moment. It was actually Aurelio who was on the deck, so they're going to make the change, but we'll get to that shortly. Celtic play on. Cluj down to 10 right now. Brown forward towards Edouard. Lovely touch back to Christie. Moves it to Elyounoussi inside the box. Celtic fans begin to get off their seats, but his attempt towards goal is blocked. Forrest has it right hand side of the area. James Forrest looking for some space. Outside of the boot pass. Swivelling and turning. The shot from Elyounoussi blocked ball, and Golly's effort on the rebound is also blocked on the 18-yard line. The Celtic knocking the door, looking for a second. 56 played. And down that right hand side goes El Hamid. Strong play from him, met by Camara, and out for a Celtic throw in, level with the Cluj 6-yard line.
That's better from Celtic, you know. They got a bit scrappy at the start of the second half there, but they're trying to peg Cluj back. And when it breaks the ball in goalie, I'm not really looking for him to shoot with his right foot there, but just looking at the Cluj players, they're all, you know, throwing themselves to the ground trying to block it. They still feel like they're in this game, so it's crucial for Celtic to get the control back in the game. I keep saying it, and try and knock the stuffing out of Cluj and don't give them any encouragement.
Aurelio's off, being replaced by very, very experienced Argentinian Emmanuel Culio, who's had a very definition of a nomadic playing career. He's on the ball already on the edge of his own box as he chips it out to this near side. He's taking the sting out of the situation for Cluj. Celtic 1-0 up, 3 minutes away from the hour mark here at Celtic Park as Omrani goes down, challenged by Edouard, and that's going to be a free kick on this near side for the visitors. Yeah, they brought Culio on. It's just a straightforward change. He's a central midfield player as well, who has been had a couple of spells at Cluj. In his first spell he played Champions League group stage football. Of course, Cluj famously, certainly in Romania, beat Manchester United. They beat Roma back in those halcyon days in the Champions League about a decade ago. They have it with Culio on this near side. Good challenge by McGregor now. Elyounoussi goes down. He gets the free kick too. Generally this referee's been, it's that one, the tug of the shirt of McGregor that James was talking about a bit earlier, but he does tend to err on the side of a free kick when there is a 50-50 challenge. 58 minutes played, Celtic 1-0 up. They have another free kick 6 yards inside the Cluj half, left of the centre circle.
It has, the referee's, you know, had a decent game, have to be honest. It's just nitpicking by saying that, you know, does he have to go down in order to get the foul when it's a foul? Because there's no obvious advantage.
A difficult one for El Hamid, that, as McGregor looked to switch it out to the right hand side. Goes in behind El Hamid and out for a Cluj throw in. Still 1-0 to the Scottish champions. Still that wafer thin lead. Picked up by Omrani on this near side. That's a great challenge by Elyounoussi. Little step over, just trying to get Bordiano out of the equation, which he does. Right foot ball to Forrest on the right hand side of the box. Edouard in the middle. McGregor arriving too. It is James Forrest. Cuts it back to Elyounoussi. Takes a touch left footed. Deflected. Goal! Goal Celtic! And that might just clinch 3 priceless points in this Europa League group. Arlauskas deceived by the deflection. Elyounoussi comes over to the dugout in celebration. Celtic Park erupts, and it is a second goal for the Scottish champions on match day 2. Revenge is being dished out to the Romanian champions. Celtic 2, CFR Cluj 0.
It starts from Elyounoussi. You know, he's not been eye-catching, but he looks fitter. He looks as if he's strong. He wins the ball off Omrani, bullies him, and then he plays a brilliant ball to James Forrest and he follows it in. I thought the chance had gone because Cal McGregor had made a great run supporting on at the edge of the box. James had taken an extra touch. It comes back to Elyounoussi. There is a bit of fortune in it, but you have to say it's no less than Celtic deserve. They've been by far the better side tonight, and I think not just, I mentioned it earlier, not just their attacking play, their hunger, their desire to get after the ball. Elyounoussi, who you expect to be a fleet-footed winger, getting into tackles and starting attacks. It's been a very impressive performance all round from me.
You did suspect he'd be a good signing. Mohamed Elyounoussi, Norway international, on loan from Southampton. It's been an all-action display. Here comes Celtic again. Edouard, look at it, knock Cluj out here. Chip ball into the box, headed away by Bolly. And then it's a very calm header back by Susic to his goalkeeper. Celtic 2, Cluj 0. That coming in the 60th minute of the game. Elyounoussi, yes, there's a bit of fortune attached to it. There was nothing fortunate about the build-up play from Celtic, though. It sliced Cluj open. And you can see what a couple of months of football has done for this Celtic team. And again, we look at the situation that befalls Scottish clubs in these European competitions, these tortuous Euro qualifiers that they've got to go through from early July, and that it does take a couple of months to get ready, and it's easier for the so-called big nations coming into the Champions League groups, even the group stage in this tournament. Their first European games are in the group stage in September, after they've had a month of league action. Celtic look a different animal, a different beast from the one that lost 4 goals to the same opponents, the same players, just 2 months ago. Not even.
They just look better all over the pitch. You know, they don't have a match winner in terms of one player that's going to win the game for them every time. It's spread all out throughout the team, and it's just the confidence.
Rondon for Cluj. It's worked out to the left hand side of the Celtic box. Early ball comes off the head of Brown. Forster goes up, 2 fists onto it, and that's going out for a Cluj throw in on the near side. The one thing Petrescu will be saying to his players is, listen, we've scored 4 goals in this stadium, 28 minutes to play. They scored 3 of them, I think, in the last kind of 25-30 minutes of the game, so they've done it before, very recent history of it. But as we're seeing, Celtic look as though they are in a different place right now, as another cross from Susic this time is gathered by Forster at his near post. 62 on the clock, Celtic 2, Cluj 0.
I know you're saying they've scored 4 goals before, but the manager can tell them all they want. The players are on the pitch, they can see that this isn't the same Celtic side. We can see it, we're watching it, but when you're on the pitch and you feel like you're not winning your tackles, you're not winning the small battles, and they're bursting at pace and creating chances, you can feel that on the pitch. Sometimes it's draining. That's what the first half was so dominant, that you needed the extra goal, but they're just battering Cluj into submission with all over the pitch. You know, I say that they're pressing, they're tackling, they're crispness of their passing, their pace in attack. It's just a much improved Celtic side. I said it earlier as well, it comes from confidence. You can tell every single player is confident in the guy beside them. They know that they can deal with, you know, crosses coming into the box, high balls round about the box, or midfield are dominating, and when they get the chance to go and attack in the wide areas, they're so confident that they can go and cause problems.
Sports Sound, BBC Radio Scotland here in the Europa League on 810 medium wave, on digital as well. It is Celtic leading Cluj by 2-0 as the Romanians come forward. It's Deac, left hand side, he shoots, great save Forster, dives to his left to keep it out, clear by Bolingoli. It's the first time he's been asked the question tonight, Fraser Forster, and he comes up with a definitive answer as Burka wins a free kick for Cluj on the near side. Maybe about 10 yards from this touchline by the time it's taken. James, really good save by Forster.
It's a save you'd expect him to make, but he palms it away into a good area that's no danger for Celtic, and Bolingoli's, you know, willingness to chase it down, to stop it going out for a throw in and clear it up the pitch. But the warning signs are there for Celtic. They need to just see out the next 5 or 10 minutes. Don't give Cluj any encouragement, because they don't want to start thinking, we're talking about Cluj and how their mentality is, and the manager, they've scored 4 goals, but you need to remember most of these players played in that game as well, so you don't want it to go, they go a goal down, which I don't think they would do anyway, and start to get away from what was working so well for them the first hour of the game.
It's about not giving Cluj any kind of encouragement, isn't it? Deac's free kick is cleared easily. Lazio are back on level terms against Rennes in Rome, and it's a goal from Savic, so Lazio 1, Rennes 1 in the other game in Europa League Group E, where we are watching Celtic beating Cluj, as James says, into submission. Here, 2-0 up they are, 64.5 minutes played. Here comes Omrani, who's been kept at arm's length by and large, but he's managed to free himself just now. He works the 1-2, he's in the box. Very tight angle moving towards the byline. Julian's challenged not once, but twice. He eventually does enough to be aided by McGregor, who scuffs it clear. Cluj coming forward again, they're looking for a free kick, they're not getting one, and now it's Elyounoussi who got Celtic's second, adding to Edouard's goal in the first half. Here comes James Forrest, driving forward towards the Cluj box, looks up at goal, shoots with the left foot, spilled by the goalkeeper. He gets back to his feet quickly and dives down onto the ball. 65 in, Celtic 2, Cluj 0. Another rip-roaring counter-attacking move there from the Scottish champions.
It is, but it's come, you know, from a dangerous area from Cluj. A fantastic tackle from Julian on Omrani, and they deal with it, and again, fast-paced counter, but they can't turn it into a game where it's just back and forward. They have to get the control back in the midfield, get the ball, and I keep saying it, I sound like a broken record, don't give them any encouragement, because it only takes them to get a little deflection, a lucky goal to get their backs up. They've got nothing to lose now, they can go for it. So Celtic have to be wary of the threat that Cluj pose, because Umrani there, that's the first we've seen him really busting into the game. Nice little give and go from the wide right, and he finds himself probably in line with the corner of the 6-yard box by the time Julian makes the tackle, and it's the first time we've seen him really come into the game.
66 played, heading towards the final quarter. Long ball from Forster's going to go all the way through to his opposite number. Earlier, Young Boys 2, Rangers 1, Feyenoord 2, Porto 0 in that group. It's 1-1 Lazio Rennes, 2-0 Celtic against Cluj here. Tomorrow night, BBC Scotland TV channel, Alloa against Dundee United. And then on Saturday, Aberdeen Hibernian will be the commentary game. Hearts, Kilmarnock, Motherwell, St Mirren, Ross County, St Johnstone. All the action from across the Ladbrokes SPFL. Then on Sunday, Livingston play Celtic, midday kickoff. And of course, Rangers are hosting Hamilton. There will be a throw into Celtic over on the far side. Full coverage of those games here on BBC Radio Scotland with Sports Sound. Of course, the highlights to come on Sunday evening of the league action there in the top flight. It's James Forrest on the ball here for Celtic, midway inside his own half, in field to McGregor, back to Ayer. First time along the deck to Yunusi, right footed ball forward to Ryan Christie, taking it in his stride, midway inside the Cluj half, out wide right for Forrest, great build-up play, right foot cross comes in, it's chested back to the goalkeeper by Susic, had to get there, two Celtic players were around them, it's bowled out quickly, it's with Umrani on this near side. Cluj simply haven't been able to live with Celtic tonight as that goes out of play, but a throw-in, it's gone Cluj's way. Neil Lennon is having a go at the fourth official down below us. He feels it's a Celtic ball. He doesn't think this game's done as yet. Most neutral observers watching this would think that Celtic will now coast to the 3 points. There's still a quarter to play, 67.5 minutes are on the clock, and Celtic lead Cluj by 2-0. Julio couldn't keep it in play on this near side, and Celtic have a throw-in which Bolingoli's going to take.
They need to be careful, because that was a sensational bit of play for Celtic to get in, but James Forrest crossing it to the back post, and it's Bolingoli who's going for it, but Umrani's not even bothering to track back, so every time the goalie gets it or Cluj get the ball, they know that Umrani's standing there, and if Bolingoli's committing himself forward, then he's free. But Callum McGregor does a brilliant shift to get back and win the ball back off him, but the game isn't dead yet. They need to see this out. I'm bored myself here, and not give them any encouragement.
So far so good for Celtic, that's for sure. Kimura on that left hand side though, crossing in, headed away by Ayer. Little chest there by Christie. I think it was initially to chest it back to Brown, but he eventually controls it himself. Long ball forward from him, and it's going to be easy for Bolly to pass it back to his goalkeeper. I was talking about this at the weekend on Saturday when Celtic were at Easter Road. I see Charlie Christie just down to the left here. He must be bursting with pride at what Ryan Christie's doing in a Celtic shirt just now. He's been their standout this season so far, since he, not even a year ago, laid claim to a starting slot here when he came off the bench at Murrayfield against Hearts in the League Cup semis.
Yeah, I mean, his all-round game is so impressive. His work rate is phenomenal. He's bursting to get forward. He tries to set up attacks. His first one back, he's getting back and tackling it in his own half. It's just, perseverance from him. He had a loan spell obviously at Aberdeen. He came back, and then it looked like he was going to go out on loan again, and fair play to him, he stuck at it, and he's such a huge player for Celtic now. He just sets the tempo, and if you've got someone in front of you like that for Brown and McGregor and your wide guys that goes and presses, he's a pest, but he's a fantastic football player. He's always on for a pass, but for me his quality is excellent, but his work rate is what sets him apart at the minute.
Mario Rondon, the Venezuelan striker who auditioned for a part in Swan Lake in the first half, is off, just subbed off to be replaced by Adrian Paun, who's a midfield player. Rondon, more of a striker, as we saw, go through the middle. As Forrest is tripped, and that's going to be a free kick which is going Celtic's way. No card this time though, and I think the Celtic supporters certainly howling for that. They're not getting one.
I don't see too much difference between that one and Julian's yellow card. We have said the referees had a decent game, but I think everybody was expecting a yellow card, even the player himself, so yeah, he's got away with one there.
Gordiano
Bordiano.
Yeah. Julian, long ball out to that right hand side. Chested down. Elyounoussi. Now it's Christie to Edouard. Edouard has got options. El Hamid out to the right now. It's with Forrest driving it across here. Elyounoussi made a really good run towards the 6-yard line. Comes off the defender. Celtic have their latest corner. Just over 19 minutes of the 90 to play. Celtic 2, Cluj 0.
It's brilliant again from Edouard. You know, his hold-up play has been sensational tonight. He's not been, you know, in the game as much as what he has been in previous games, but any time it's come up to him, it's stuck. He's managed to find a player. I think he's been sensational without being eye-catching, but the kind of stuff you expect from a striker, linking the play, chasing it down. I think he's been brilliant.
In swinging corner from Christie, over on the far side, left-footed up into the air. It's flicked away around about the 6-yard line. Edouard will get onto it. Will he settle for the corner? It's kind of taken an age to go out actually, but he's, after the touch from the defender, Edouard is now onto it. Plays it back to Elyounoussi. Low ball into the box. El Hamid, little dummy chance for 3. It's scooped over by Julian, who must be absolutely delighted that the flag went up on the far side, which means he, his teammates, and anyone else who saw that will not have to talk about it again.
I think he saw the flag going up, Liam. I think he must have saw the flag going up, but another dangerous ball, and he finds himself all alone. He's probably got too much time, and it's not his best attribute, obviously.
He's had 3 good chances tonight, albeit that one was offside. There's Bolingoli for Celtic, knocking it forward. Out it goes for a throw-in to Cluj right in front of Neil Lennon's technical area. 18 minutes to play. Celtic 18 minutes plus injury time away from 3 big points. And as I said in the first half, home wins in group stage football have been harder to come by for Celtic over the last 6 or 7 years. It's been more troublesome for them. They've only won 6 since beating Barcelona here in group stage matches. Spartak Moscow, Ajax, Dinamo Zagreb, Astra, another Romanian team, Rosenborg and Leipzig. Those two, the latter two, both last season. Edouard trying to get onto it, under pressure was the defender who manages to deal with it. It was Borkat. Up towards halfway the clearance comes. It's Ayer to El Hamid, now Brown. El Hamid on the right, running into trouble. Christie manages to pick up the scraps, finds Forrest. He leaves it for McGregor, passing it out to this left hand side for Elyounoussi, level with the penalty spot now. It's cut out by Susic on this near side. Going to break back to Bolingoli, who will win a throw-in for Celtic, level with the Cluj 18-yard line. 73 minutes played, 2-0 to the Scottish champions. And Elyounoussi deflected goal, adding to Edouard's first half header. Brown, low ball square to Ayer. Forward it comes to Forrest. It's done well. He's ran into Christie there as he passes it back to Brown. Long ball flicked out by Omrani for a throw-in to Celtic on this near side. Omrani, who scored twice here in August, has not had a look in tonight.
He hasn't, and I was just, you know, when they said he was struggling, I had a look to see what his minutes were at the weekend, and he came on as a sub. He scored a goal and they took him off, but it was 3-0, and I wonder if it was, you know, a little bit of cadology to say, right, we've won this game, we'll take him off and say he's struggling, because he hasn't been in the game, but it doesn't look like he's injured. You know, he
he's still on, isn't he?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's been a part of the game plan, but obviously Dan Petrescu thinks higher of Omrani than what Celtic do, because he's been very quiet.
It wouldn't surprise you. Dan Petrescu, I think he fell out with Stoya Bucharest in a game. He was in charge of Cluj against Stoya, refused to go to the match, did it from the hotel room. As Cluj come forward on the left hand side of the D, chance to shoot, it's deflected forward, has to be offside. He is, as that was blasted towards goal. Diak got in the way, and then just after that, McGregor and Brown getting a little too acquainted with 2 Cluj players, and Rani was one of them. The other was Emmanuel Coolio. It's a free kick to Celtic when all is said and done, almost on 75 minutes. He refused to go to the game, James, and he sat in the hotel room and was talking on the phone to his coaching staff throughout, watching it on the telly, telling them what to do. Just didn't want to go into the stadium.
Was that for Saturday's game?
No, this is playing Stoya Bucharest a couple of years ago.
Did they win?
Pass. I'm not sure. I should have checked that. Expected the supplementary question from you.
Just to see if it worked, you know. Sometimes
yeah, no, you're right.
do
Absolutely,
crazy
you're
things,
right to ask the question. Celtic have asked plenty of questions tonight. Into the final 15 we go at Celtic Park. 2-0 would do Neil Lennon just nicely. A good home win, clean sheet if it stays that way. Edouard goes down, no free kick. Cluj clear up towards halfway. Tomrani on the turn. He slipped it into the centre circle. Poor ball in the end up there by Coolio. Celtic win it back now with Julian. Finds McGregor. McGregor taking it out to this near side, rolling it to Bolingoli. Still in play, Day acted well to keep it in. But fighting back well is Elyounoussi. Some plenty backtracking tonight, and he's done it really well. Looks as though he's going to be an extremely useful player for Celtic this season.
Yeah, his work rate's really impressed me. It started brightly. He's not been eye-catching in terms of taking people on every time he gets it, but his work rate's been phenomenal, and you have to say that it would have to be to get in this side, because all over the pitch the work rate's incredible, and he looks to be getting fitter and stronger, and you can see why Southampton paid so much money for him.
Big statement by Neil Lennon, isn't it? He brings Elyounoussi in on loan. Scott Sinclair's on the bench tonight, but he was such an important player in the Brendan Rodgers era, particularly in that first full season that Rodgers had here. Scott Sinclair was a standout. Here comes Edouard, he's a standout tonight, rolling it for Forrest. Too much on the pass as he squeezes it into the penalty box, and that is held on to by the goalkeeper. Lazio have turned it around, and they are 2-1 up on Rennes. A goal for Immobile. Lazio 2, Rennes 1 in the other game in Group E. That will put Rennes on the back foot with that 1 point against Celtic a couple of weeks ago, albeit they probably shouldn't have got that point. Celtic felt they deserved all three on the night. 77 minutes played. They're 2-0 up and certain surely to pick up 3 this evening, barring a major collapse, and they did concede late goals to Cluj in August. Cluj won the game 4-3 to Kudian, who scored the very late goal that won the match in the night. They were already going through in the tie. He has heart problems, so he is no longer with the squad. He's been given the rest of the season off to try and recuperate, and he's contemplating retiring for that lobbed winner here a couple of months ago. It's Cluj on the attack. It's a good bit of defending by El Hamid. It's going to go out for a goal kick. Just celebrated like a goal. James Forrest with a challenge, been bouncing back off the Cluj player, and Celtic have a goal kick. They have a 2-0 lead with 12 minutes of the 90 still to play.
It's always nice seeing your wingers. You spoke about Elyounoussi on this side, but James Forrest getting back and trying to win the ball back does enough to force a goal kick. Just before that we saw Edouard running through. James Forrest has made a great run inside Edouard's left shoulder. You just felt like drop the shoulder, fake the pass, drag it inside and get your shot away. He's not had too many chances tonight. As I said, his overall play has been brilliant, but you just felt as though he could drive forward and take a shot himself.
Elyounoussi, left hand side of the Cluj box, gets the early ball in. That's just going to go past. Ryan Christie attacked it, threw himself at it, stretched his leg as far as it would go. It wasn't enough to get it on target, and the defender can clear as that went. Was heading out wide for a goal kick, but it was kept in play and cleared and out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side against Mohamed Elyounoussi down this left hand side. Excellent attacking play, and what a good ball in.
Brilliant, and Edouard trying to go and end it as well. I keep saying it, he's been brilliant tonight. He took his goal very well, great movement and strength, and his link-up play has been sensational, and it's a big reason, you know, when you've got someone up front that you know the ball will stick, or he's got the awareness to bring other players into play. You know, it gives you so much confidence. I keep saying it, confidence throughout the side, every position, every player's got the trust of each other, and I've been really, really impressed by Edouard this season, but tonight he's been brilliant.
Celtic with El Hamid on that far side, back into his own half for Brown as we approach the final 10 minutes. It's going to be Ayer forward to Christie, rolls it with the left foot out. Bolingoli level with the 6-yard line, passing it back to the left angle of the box for Christie. Now it's with Ayer. Ayer then square to Brown. Brown to his left for McGregor, forward to Bolingoli on this near side touchline, just moving in field, passing it forward to Christie. Little drop of the shoulder. Christie in the box. Christie shooting and shooting wide. Really good play from him again. As I look down at his old man here, who looks down in frustration because I mean, it's great skill to get himself into the position to shoot anyway, because he did not look as though it was likely that he was going to be in a position to get a shot away at one point.
No, but it's good play from Celtic. They didn't force it, they passed it. Bolingoli getting down the left hand side again, could have easily just crossed it in the box. He turns back out and they start again, and Christie's first touch is sensational, and he makes enough room to get his shot away, but just not clean enough.
Yeah, they've made Djokovic has come off. That's their final change, Cluj, and they brought on Katilin Golovka, who arrived after the Celtic games in August, one of the new signings, the Romanian champions and league leaders, just won back-to-back titles for the first time in their history, and they were hoping to come to Glasgow tonight and repeat the trip from August and make it back-to-back wins at the start of this Europa League group. Not going to happen unless there's a miraculous resurrection for them. 81.5 minutes into this one, Celtic leading Cluj by 2-0. Back with Forster, and he thumps it long into the Cluj half, flicked off the midfield player there, Coolio, and breaks back fortuitously to Camora on that far side, knocks it back into his own penalty area here for Burka, who squares it to Bolly. And coming deep for it there in the edge of his own box was Bordiano. It's now back with Burka on this near side. He plays it to his keeper, first time ball forward, helped on its way out towards Deak there by Omrani. A long ball played out to Golovka on that left hand side. He's just on, he's jinking towards the box, moves it to the left to the overlapping one. The cross is cut out behind for a corner by Alhamid. 8 minutes to play, Celtic 2, Cluj 0.
Omrani's actually looked better as a striker, and that's maybe why he's been so ineffectual, because they've probably looked at it and tried to exploit Bolingoli. They've not had too much joy. He's looked so much better as a striker in terms of his hold-up play. He flicks that header on. He's just a good presence up there.
Cluj corner as they look for something back here, and it comes away by Christie, but in truth it was an awful corner on that occasion, and that goes out of play for a throw-in on the far side to Cluj. It's Bordiano's set play, which was cleared by Christie. Throw-in's taken quickly by Camora on that far side. They're going to get a free kick here, as good as a corner, albeit it's about 6, 7, 8 yards away from the corner flag on the far side, almost about level with the Celtic 6. 7 minutes to play plus injury time. Celtic could do without conceding at this point, because it could get a bit nervy.
Yeah, you don't want to be conceding now and trying to hold on for the last 7 minutes of the game. But they've defended everything well so far, so they just need to keep their concentration.
It was Brown who gave it away. Manny gave away the penalty here in the Champions League qualifier. Left-footed free kick, it's bent back towards Omrani, who skies it up into the air. It's still not out of play, it is now, as he tried to smash it towards goal. Ended up getting closer to the roof of the stand, to be honest, and that goes out eventually for a goal kick, and Celtic are very happy about that. 84 played, Celtic 2, CFR Cluj 0.
It was poor execution, but he's all alone. Omrani and I can't see who it was. There was two of them there just in line with the penalty spot on their own, so they need to keep the concentration, no encouragement whatsoever until the game's finished. They need to try and see this out, not that they're hanging on, but just don't concede a silly goal and make it more difficult than what it has to be.
And even better for them would be to score a third, and Edouard's moved it towards the edge of the Cluj box. He's going to get it back here. Odson Edouard can kill it off here. Shoots with the left foot, shoots over the bar, and it stays at 2-0.
Another sensational touch from Edouard. James Forrest flicks it inside from the right hand side to his left. Edouard just is behind him. He flicks his right leg up and kind of heels it in his path, and he's just unlucky. He needs to try and keep it down, but he's fashioned that, from a brilliant touch. He's made the best of that ball there.
James Forrest is being withdrawn and will be replaced by Johnny Hayes. As Celtic look to the bench, he's putting a power of work again tonight, James Forrest. He really has, and that's Celtic's first change of the night.
He has put in a power of work, and he's so mature now, James, and everything he does. His work rate's been phenomenal, but he's a constant threat. Every time Celtic look to go forward, he's the man they look for, and he more often than not, he'll create a chance or he'll have an effect. And now I'm just looking at Camora there, he's hobbling about, and the last guy you want to see is Johnny Hayes with his pace. So I think they've used all the subs as well. So get the ball to Johnny Hayes, get him running at Camora. Don't let up.
Doubleheader against Lazio coming up for Celtic. It'll be a group-defining doubleheader, you feel, as Elyounoussi tests the defender again. Little shoulder collision between the two of them, Elyounoussi and Burkhardt. Elyounoussi goes down inside the box. I don't even think the referee was looking the right way there. As Cluj try and come away with it. Elyounoussi back to his feet now. As Cluj clear up towards halfway. Ayer beats Amrani in the jump, round about the halfway line, but it's Cluj who end up in possession here with Coolio moving it to his left, and it will be Camora down the left hand side touchline. A chance to run there. The man who's just on there, Golovka, but he runs into trouble in the shape of El Hamid, who clears out for a throw-in on the far side. The rain still teeming down, pretty much has an hour before kick-off, and since then it's been no let-up. Such a slick surface out there. We played almost 87 minutes and Celtic still leading by 2-0. Edouard and Elyounoussi with the deflected goal, his first for Celtic on his 4th appearance. Edouard scoring his 9th goal of the season for Celtic. That takes, I think, him to 42 in total for the club. So he edges towards the half century, which is only a matter of time. Celtic have it with Brown, running about the halfway line. Long ball for Edouard, he's off. Certainly didn't look initially when the ball was played. Is Edouard going to get booked for kicking the ball away there? He is. How cheap's that? In fact, James to my left there, as soon as Edouard kicked the ball away, gave a look to say, what on earth are you doing? This is an officious referee, and he is reading the letter of the law.
Well, I was half thinking what you're doing, and then I get a flashback, and it's something I would have done definitely, certainly at that age. But it's needless, you know. It's needless, especially Bayo serving a suspension. You know, if you're going to get booked, then make it, you know, meaningful. Certainly towards the end of the game. I know he's wasted maybe half a minute there, but just try and keep the heads and don't be picking up needless yellow cards that could cost you further down the line.
3 strikes and you're out, similar to the Euro qualifying matches, which resumes next week as Christie flicks on for Edouard. He's done well, he's beaten the defender. Edouard's inside the penalty area, little drop of the shoulder, and the goalkeeper comes out, makes the save, and it goes behind there. Has he given a goal kick? I think he has, yeah, and it stays 2-0 to Celtic. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes left, and it is Celtic 2, Cluj 0.
It's great awareness from Christie to know where Edouard is, and Johnny Hayes is absolutely bursting to get in the box. I mean, you can forgive him for trying to take it on his own, but Johnny Hayes is a square ball for a tap-in just to kill the game right off. But you know, you can understand Edouard want to add to his goal tally and really kill the game off.
Looked like he was going to there as Olivier Ncham prepares to come on for Christie, who's put in yet another all-action performance, and he looks absolutely knackered.
No wonder he hasn't stopped running. His intensity is phenomenal. You know, his fitness levels are so high, and it's not needless running. You know, some players you can see they run and make it look like they're just running. His intensity to press, to track back, to get on the end, you know, chase a lost cause. He's been phenomenal this season, but another great performance from him tonight.
Forster's long ball out to this near side, can't get it onto a teammate. It was aimed for Elyounoussi, it sails over his head, and Cluj have a throw in the final few seconds of the 90 minutes that remain here, and Celtic will be picking up their first victory of this Europa League group stage campaign against a side that knocked them out of the holy grail of the Champions League this season.
Talking about Ryan Christie, you look at the Champs come on there. We haven't seen much of Rogic because of the performance levels of Ryan Christie. You know, and that's something a year ago, if somebody says you would have Ryan Christie on your team and they would on merit be keeping both Rogic and Ncham out of the team, you know, it shows you how far he's come. He's such a pivotal player for Celtic.
Scott Brown's been given man of the match. 4 minutes of injury time and then added on at the end here. Ryan Christie was almost away to Aberdeen on a full-time deal last August, and here we are 13 months later, and he was only really kept at Celtic because they were struggling for numbers at that part of the pitch in the squad. He was being kept as a squad player. Now he's a first pick. He's not far off being the first pick, perhaps out with Scott Brown in that Celtic team right now.
Well, I mean, you just look at, we speak about how good Celtic are now and their whole team and their work ethic, and he is a massive part of that. It's, you know, the team at the minute just picks itself. There's no way in for anybody else, and we've spoke about the Champions League game against Cluj and the fact that Cal McGregor played left back, and the reason Neil Lennon gave was so that he could get Cham in the team because he needed him in the team, and now the performance levels without him have been top draw.
One of the 4 minutes has come and gone. Cham looking for Bolingoli down the near side. He's won it back off the defender. Bolingoli, early ball into the box, blocked by Bolly. Not that he knew too much about it. It was Bolingoli with the cross ball as Cluj come away in the counter attack here. And then Omrani sums up Cluj's night as it comes off his toe and out for a Celtic throw-in on this near side. Celtic 2-0 up going into the final. 2 minutes of 4 added on at the end. Edouard in the first half on 20, and then run about the hour mark, El Yunusi with a deflected goal into the bottom right corner. And that is why Celtic will be pocketing 3 big Europa League points in Group E tonight. Bolingoli's throw-in is helped on its way by the head of El Yunusi. It's into the midfield, and Cluj win it back. It's played out to Susic on this near side. The flick ball forward there is cut out by Bolingoli from Paun. It's now with Bolly for Cluj, knocking it out to that left-hand side where it's picked up by Camora. And it's the final few seconds of the game. Celtic almost job done. The only thing they're missing at the moment, which they can attain in the next minute and a half, is a clean sheet. Unless they fancy another goal, but it's McGregor back deep inside his own half right now under pressure. He's done well to get away from 1, then 2, and he's unlucky because it's actually gone out of play before it came off him there, so it's a Celtic throw-in down on this near side. But it would have been important, James, for Neil Lennon to come into this game and watch his players build on the performance in North France a couple of weeks ago.
It is, and it's, you know, that the team have set the standard now, and you know, Neil Lennon will not accept anything less than their commitment, their work rate, their desire to get forward and really dominate games, and that's because the players have set that standard. And we spoke about the confidence that Celtic are better than Cluj, that they can go and win this game their way and dominate the game so much, and that's something that it builds week on week when they're playing at home. It's always been, you know, a big thing levelled at Celtic when they've played in Europe.
Julian gets it away just as Cluj are looking for a little consolation goal. Golovka was in, but for Julian, who gets it away just in the edge of the Celtic box here. There's a shot at goal which is wide of the left hand post from Coolio with a left foot. That will be just about that. The referee in fact has blown the full time whistle. Celtic register their first win in this Europa League group, building in a very positive fashion on the optimism from Rennes a couple of weeks back when they drew 1-1 in a game they felt they should have won. But tonight, as it's confirmed that Lazio have beaten Rennes in Rome tonight, it means Celtic go atop Group E thanks to this very convincing victory. 2-0 it ended. They had other opportunities to make the scoreline even more flattering, but in the end up it is just the 2. The first from Edouard, Bolingoli's chip ball from the byline found Edouard, cushion header into the net. The second came on the hour mark. El Yunusi, another excellent performer on the night for Celtic, a deflected effort into the bottom right corner which ensured that Celtic would pick up a victory against the team that knocked them out of this season's Champions League in the third qualifying round on that very depressing night in August for the Celtic supporters when they lost 4-3 here. And that night, in truth, is the only real dark cloud on Celtic's season so far, which has by and large been extremely impressive. When you add in their victory at Ibrox on top of the draw in Rennes a couple of weeks ago, and an all-action, powerful performance here against a Romanian side that came and caused them so many problems and denied them that gold-laden path through to the Champions League group stage. A little bit of revenge tonight for Celtic. Those goals from Edouard in the first half, Elyounoussi in the second, and they can turn their attention now to a double header against the Italian side Lazio over the next 2 match days. The first one will be right here before they head to Rome and the Stadio Olimpico. Plenty for the Celtic team and these Celtic supporters who head out very, very happy with their night's work tonight to look forward to. Finished at Celtic Park on match day 2 in Europa League Group E. Celtic 2, CFR Cluj 0.
Celtic in the Europa League, live on Sports Sound from BBC Radio Scotland.